All right, back at it today. I ordered a dash pad cover from Classic Industries, and I'm a little skeptical about how it's going to turn out. It's a PVC form that's a little bit bigger than your dash pad, and you basically sand down your dash pad and glue it on. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's pretty hot here. I wonder how long that's going to last. But I didn't want to spend like the $350 on a dash pad versus I think it was like 120 for the cover. So give it a try and see if it works. Check it out. All right, so here is the dash pad. Mine's bright blue to match my interior, and it just comes, it's just like I said, snap-on. Looks like it's made by Dash Top. So we'll try and make this work. Okay, here is my stock dash pad, and it's in fairly decent shape, but you will see it does have some cracks along the top of it. You know, for sitting in Phoenix forever, it's not too terrible. And you also notice it's a much darker blue than the dash pad cover. It's still mounted to the dash pad. It mounts up underneath here with bolts. So it's a bit of a pain to take off. So if I do have to remove it, I will probably have to disassemble most of the dash to get up in there. Okay, so here's the dash pad sitting on there. You can kind of work it in. The ends are a little bit tricky, so you just snap it on like that. And then it doesn't really grip all the way around super well. So I'm gonna have to work on that. I'm more concerned, I'm not as concerned with the under the dash, because no one really is gonna climb up there and look, as I am what you'll be able to see through the front window. So that needs to get clamped down real tight like that. All right, so I'm trying out some things, trying to get that dash pad to suck up tight so that it doesn't have a gap. And while this is helping a little bit, I'm gonna have to do something else. Rags are on there to protect the dash from getting scraped. All right, so now I've wrapped a board in rags and used that on top. And then I think this is about the best as I'm gonna get, unless I want to start cutting into the edge here, which may be an option. I'd like to do it without much customization. So, you know, you can see over here that it really isn't necessarily covering that, and that I probably need to roll that a little further. It is fitting fairly well to where it's supposed to fit, but again, it's just not everything. So I took that last clamp off, and you can see that it's not deep enough. It's not going to get around both sides. So I think I'm gonna have to live with where that's at and call it good. Okay, so I sanded it down as it instructed with so light sanding. So I took a 150 grit to it. It actually, a lot of stuff sanded off very easily. So I didn't have any real raised cracks, so I didn't do any razor blading. And then I hit it with Simple Green. I hit it with Costco glass cleaner, and then it says to use an ammonia-based glass cleaner, so I ran across the street to my neighbors and got some Windex. So it's all prepped and ready to go. Okay, so it said to put a bead the size of a pencil along the edge. Do not do it in the middle, and to keep it a 1/2 inch from the edge so it doesn't squirt out. So I think I've done my best to do that, and here goes nothing. Okay, I did take a sander, a little tool like this. I did grind out a little bit to make some room so that cap would come over a little closer. It's not super consistent, but I think it's as good as I'm gonna get. And I'm hoping that it's hidden enough that no one's gonna peer through the window and say, "What's wrong with your dash?" I did want to get these corners down. I did have some bleed out on the it's like a silicone product, come through on that. Checking in here, I do have it collapsed a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that. I might back that off just a hair so that it grips a little better down here. But all in all, it says sand and to put that bead in and then to wait 2 hours. So we'll wait and see. All right, so I took it off and there was one area that was still poppy last night. And I used a razor blade to shove the sealant or the silicone back up in there and then wiped off the excess. So looks good. All right, so it's all on right now. The fit, you know, is not perfect, but I did get it as close as I could. On the front, I think it's satisfactory. There will be a little bit of the old dash that shows through. I'm hoping that that isn't super obvious through the windshield after it's all done. Obviously, I think that these corners will be covered up by the A-pillars. So I think overall, it looks good. We'll just see if it holds up and stands up, you know, over time. So there you go. All right, dash pad's done. As you saw, it was pretty decent. Probably wouldn't recommend it for a high dollar restoration car, but worked fine. And definitely for budget builds, it's probably satisfactory and no one's really going to notice. Was a little bit surprised that it didn't they didn't offer a factory color, or at least I've never seen a factory bright blue in the past. It doesn't mean it's not out there. And it, you know, a little bit challenging to install. Anybody could really do it. One trick that I've learned with silicone is that if you have bleed out, spray it with a water or a cleaner first, and then drag a rag over it, and that will keep it won't attach anywhere else. So it'll clean up much easier and on the rag. So all in all, we'll see if it lasts. Thanks.